Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Miss P Clothing. This is the outcome of what we are going to be cutting today. You can see the sleeve right there. That's the strap. It's a crop top. It's a crop wrap top, let me call it that way. You can see the ruffles. That's the sleeve right there. So if you like this video, if you like what you're seeing and you would like to see more of my channel, I would like you to subscribe, give my video a thumbs up, and turn on your notification bell so that you are notified every time I upload a new video. So over to cutting. So first of all, you would go ahead to measure the length of your top. For me, I am using 17 inches as the length of the top. I'm also going to be adding 1.5 inch allowance to the length, making it 18.5. Once it comes to length, I like to add at least 1.5 inch allowance as the length allowance. After that, I'll repeat the same process few inches away so that I can get a straight mark. Guys, you don't want to make a mistake during your cutting, so take your time and do all of the necessary measurements. After that, I'm going to go down and take other measurements. I'm going to measure 9 as my chest line on the same pattern. Then I'm going to measure 16 as my half cut. Guys, use your measurement. This is my measurement, so you can use yours. I'm still going to go a few inches away from there. I'm going to repeat the same process, 9 inch, 16 inches, then I would connect. I don't want to have a different measurement. I don't want to have an irregular shape. So take your time and do the same. Once you're done, you want to also go ahead to take your neckline. I'm using 3 inch for my neck width. Use the neck width of your choice. This is what I want to use. I'm using 1 inch for the neck depth. This is the pattern for the back. This is the pattern for the back. This is the back pattern. After that, I'm taking my shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. And on the same chest line, I'm going to take the same 8 inches shoulder measurement that I took on the shoulder part, shoulder line. I'm going to do the same on the chest line. I'm going to measure the same 8 inches on the chest line, which is my armhole depth. So I am going to connect from the shoulder to the chest line. So once I'm done with that, you want to come down on the chest, on the shoulder line by 1 inch, which should serve as your shoulder slants. So from that one that you measured, when you measure the remaining measurement, you would have 8 inches, which is a perfect measurement. So you slant your shoulders like this. Once you're done with that, you want to come down under your chest line to take your bust measurement. Remember that whatever your bust is, it is divided by 4 once you are cutting. You are dividing it by 4. Whatever you get is what you are going to be marking out. Guys, it is optional. You can decide not to use a pattern paper, but this is for illustration purpose. You can decide to just go ahead and do it right on your fabric. It is optional. It's up to you. So on the half cut, I'm going to take my waist measurement there. I am 28. Divided by 4, it's 7. So I'm going to do that there. If you're someone that your tummy is bigger than your waist, please go ahead and measure your tummy on this point. Then I'm adding 1 extra inch allowance, 1 inch allowance, making it 8. I don't want so much allowance. This is the waistline. So on the waistline, I'm going to measure the same thing because it's the measurement for me. 28, then I add extra 1 inch allowance. So you go ahead and you join your points from the chest line, which you took your bust measurement from, to the waistline. The waistline is your overall length. Once you're done with that, you want to link all of the points together. Once you are done on that line, on that chest line, you want to go up by 2 inches for your armhole curve. So you curve it like this. If you have a French curve, please go ahead and use it. If you have anything that can aid you in getting what you want, go ahead and do it, but I like to use my free hand. So we're done with all of our measurements. You go ahead and cut. So this pattern right here is a part of the back. This is one side of the back. So we're not going to cut the shoulder slants, not the neckline yet. We're going to use it to cut for the front piece before we cut all of it out. So on another different pattern, you can see that I folded a pattern paper into two. It's on fold, then I place the first pattern we marked, which is our back pattern. I placed it on the folded pattern paper. We are trying to cut out our front patterns. So guys, take your time to get the first pattern right, and then you don't have an issue trying to trace out the front pattern. So I went ahead to cut the shoulder slant and the neckline. So once you open the fold, this is your front pattern and this is the back pattern. So we got two of the back to make one of the front, like this. So you go out from the neckline by 1 inch, and on the other side you go up by 2.5 inches, like this. So you just make a mark. This mark is just to help you to know where you are ending your curve. That's the wrap. So you connect it this way, linking it to the one that you measured on the neckline. So guys, you can see that I've already extended my neckline by 1, so my neckline now is 4 inches. So I don't need this part anymore. I'm going to cut it out. So guys, this thing is very simple. This is what the first wrap looks like. So as it is, we already have a piece or a pattern of a front part and also a pattern of the back. So we're going to be cutting all of these both patterns on fold. Once we want to cut it on our fabric, it's going to be on fold. After that, this is what the front part looks like. So I cut out 2 of this pattern. So once you layer it on each other, once you place them on each other, this is it. Guys, can you see that? So this is what we just cut out, 2 of it. Then this is on fold. I cut it on fold, the pattern. I cut the real fabric on fold. This is what it looks like. This is the back piece of our top. So over to the sleeve. I already cut out the sleeve. I don't want the video to be long, so I left a link in the description box about how we arrived at the sleeve. So guys, sorry, check it out please. Once it's on fold, this is how it looks. You fold it to the other side to give you a whole pattern. So this is my strap. So go ahead to cut the desired length and width of your pattern. This is the lining for the back. I've gone ahead to cut the lining for the different pieces. I also went ahead to cut my lining pieces. I like to use lining. It is optional. You can choose not to use lining, but for this particular style, I would love to use a lining. So this is the lining. And these are my straps. I had already worked on my strap, ironed them. I'd already sewn and ironed them. So this is what my strap looks like, 2 straps. After that, you want to also go ahead and lay your lining on the fabric. Remember, you are laying it on the good side of your fabric. So for now, I am starting with the back lining. Lay the lining on the right side of the fabric and pin it like this. Once you're done, you sew just on the neck and on this side, please guys. I'm only sewing the neckline and sewing the down part. I'm not sewing the sides, the shoulder, nor the armhole. It's not necessary. I'm only sewing the neckline and this part, that's the down part. So once we are done with that back line, over to our front part, you pick a strap, put it at the wrap corner of your front pattern. The front part, you put one of your strap there and then you pin. Make sure you leave extra ½ inches on both sides like you're seeing. So after then, you want to hold it down with a pin just to help you hold the strap to the first strap down. I'm trying to secure the strap so that it doesn't fall off while I'm sewing. So after this, you cover it with your lining and then you pin it all the way. Adjust it very well. then you pin all the way. So again, you're only going to be sewing on this point, guys. Take note, you're only going to be sewing there, sew on this other shorter part, which is your wrap area, then sew on the edge. That's the down part. You are not sewing the sides, neither are you sewing the armhole, neither are you sewing the shoulder. You are sewing just this curved part. They are sewing for the strap area, then you are sewing down. After sewing, this is what it is, guys. With the strap to it, this is it. So this is the second wrap. You can see that I left here open, but I made sure other parts were sewn. This is the back pattern as well. So you want to join the shoulders together, good side to good side, odd side to odd side. So you want to hold the shoulders together like this for a start. Then you will flip the lining of any side, either the back side or the front side. Flip the lining over to your direction. We don't want to sew the shoulders and be seeing the rough edges visible. We want to invisibly cover it, so that after sewing it, the sewn part is covered inside, so that it's not visible. So you want to lay it like this, flip the lining from one side to your direction, and then just hold it down with pins like this, just to help you. You sew on that line. You want to do the same thing for the second shoulder. So guys, look very carefully. In case I'm not doing justice to the explanation, just look at what I'm doing. So you sew on that edge as well. Once I'm done, this is what it is. You see that you cannot see the other part that we made. It is covered inside. It is sewn invisibly. So this is it. You go ahead and iron it. Then you flip over, right sides facing each other. You shift the strap a little so that it can give you access to join them both. So like we did for the shoulder, you're also going to flip one end of the lining to the other while your hand is still holding them firm. You pin them, then you try to adjust it. You make sure that after adjusting it comfortably, you make sure that you have 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 pieces of it. So you hold them down with pins. So you're going to be sewing along that line. You also confirm that you are holding the 4 pieces together. That's 2 lining and then 2 main fabric. So I'm sewing 1 inch extra. I'm sewing on 1 inch. I'm taking 1 inch out. So once I was done sewing, this is it. You flip over. So this is what our inside looks like. This is what the inner looks like. You can't see the part out. This is one side. For the second side, it's a bit technical. So guys, I would like you to really look at what I'm doing. So we're not going to cover it like we covered this other side, but it's still going to be with the same approach. So you hold them down like you did for the first one. You're not going to sew like that. So you hold it down like you did for the first part. You flip over one side of the lining. Then we flipped over the front side of the lining for the other side. So we are doing the same thing. So you pin it down with a pin. Guys, watch carefully. So you try to adjust everything down. On one side you have 2 lining, on the other side you have 2 lining lapping 2 fabric, or when you flip it over you have 2 fabric lapping 2 linings. So that is where you know that you are doing the correct thing. So you also want to still pin it down. So what you want to do right now, we're going to sew on 1 inch, right? That's the extra allowance we gave. So you mark out the 1 inch. So what the next thing to do is to mark half from the beginning like that. Mark half. So what this half means is that we are going to only sew just half of them. We're just going to sew from the beginning to just half. Then we are leaving extra 2.5 inches. I don't know what the measurement of your sleeve might be, but make sure that if your strap is 2 inches in width, try and measure 2.5 or 3 inches. So that's the space we just measured. So I'm going to sew on these black lines alone. I'll leave this part open, then I'll sew on the other black line like this. So this side is going to be the part I'm done sewing it. I left here open, I left there open, then I still stitched all the way to the armhole. So once you flip it over, guys, this is what we have. This is what we have, but you don't want to leave it like this. This is a rough work. No one wants this. We're not going to leave it like this. So we're going to go further and do our manipulations. So you flip it over to the wrong side again. Guys, let me teach you a trick. After this, you see the part that you stitched and stopped. You want to make a notch there. You want to cut another part there. Be careful on this part so that you don't cut way more than your desires. After that, you turn it to the right side. You still do not want to leave it like this, guys. So what we are going to do at this point is to fold the fabric inwards from the good side. You fold it inward. You also fold the lining inward like this. Guys, watch what I'm doing. If you don't understand, just follow carefully what I'm doing. You would understand. So I am done with the first one. I'm going to hold them down with pin before sewing on it. After that, you want to do the same thing for the second side. So I'm almost done with the second side, so you're doing the same thing. Once you're done, still hold them down with pins. And then you're going to sew on the edges, sew neatly on the edge. Then you sew on the edge neatly. You notch on that side, you sew again. After you're done stitching, once you're done sewing, this is what it is, guys. So I've already cut the sleeve where I can pass the elastic through. I've already made provisions for that. I went ahead to measure 11 inches. Then you snake it through like this. Once you're done, you want to sew on the wrong side. That's right sides facing each other. You sew on that line, on this black line. That's where you're going to sew on. Once I was done, this is the sleeve, this is the top. So you join it like this. Just watch carefully what I'm doing. So you want to take your time and hold the sleeve to the shoulder of your top. Then you see that there's a little excess. You have to mix a little pleat at the shoulder there. I made it on purpose. I want the sleeve to have a little plait at the shoulder, so after then it's all the way down. So once you're done, it's going to look like this. So guys, check the link in the description for how the sleeve was cut and how it was made. So guys, thank you for watching.